Hello, hello, hello. What is up, world? How's everybody doing? Welcome to hashtag TWGP. That's it. That's what it is. It's the podcast. Today we're condensing. We're trying to minimize the title today. We're going in reverse. I am joined today, as always, with my co-host. We have Omega Weltall. Go to him
first.
What's up? Doing a different direction there. And of course, Syberninja.
How's it going, guys? Here. Long time no see. It's almost like I haven't seen you in a week.
I know,
right?
Like
it's weird.
Feels like it. So what have you guys been up to this week? What has been going on in your world before we get into our topics for today?
Oh, well, I guess I'll go first. Actually, I've been streaming a little bit of Phantasy Star Online 2. I think I streamed a little bit of Phantasy Star 1 and 4. No, Phantasy Star 4. And actually, I played a little bit of Star Trek Online. I streamed like maybe 2 hours of Star Trek Online last night. And not much, because they had some new Klingon-centered storylines, which are actually really good. And they have like a whole new Klingon new character stuff. So they've rearranged a lot of old missions that they just got rid of and changed around. It's actually really good.
Okay.
It's a shame that an 11-year-old forgotten MMORPG is doing Star Trek more justice than Paramount or CBS ever had.
I mean, games tend to tell better long form stories because.
Oh yeah, look at Knights of the Old Republic.
So I'm not too surprised about that. What about you, Cyber? What's been going on?
Well, since we did the podcast last Sunday, and then I don't think I streamed Monday. I don't think I did, but Tuesday we did the coin op conversation where we just pretty much just chatted. I don't think we had a topic going on for that. Really. We were just, it was just kind of like, just general conversation, talking with the chat. And then we streamed again later on the week. We did 7 Days to Die. We had our day 28 horde. If you guys don't know what 7 Days to Die is, you can look it up, but we did that. And I've had some internet issues, so I did not stream yesterday or Friday, but I did play some Fortnite and hang out with the family. That's kind of it, other than work. I had doctor's appointments. I don't want to bore you guys with that. But this Tuesday coming up, we can talk about it again at the end of this stream, but we do have another coin op conversation coming up talking about the old school, if you guys remember back in the 90s, arcade and I guess entertainment place Funscape. I don't even know if any of those are still around. But that's what we're going to talk about next Tuesday. We're also having a special guest on to talk about our competitive days. So if you guys want to see that, tune in Tuesday at twitch.tv/Syberninja with an S.
There you go. For everybody in the chat, if you are watching on YouTube or Twitch, welcome. Remember, when the stream is over with, I shortly after we're done put timestamps in. So if you miss anything in this or you have to step away, you can always come back and watch it on my YouTube channel. I don't think Twitch saves them. I mean, I was told they don't save them, but
it saves it if you're an affiliate. It saves it for 14 days.
All right. Well, then that would explain why I don't have it yet.
There you go.
But yeah, but if you're over on Twitch and you want to watch this afterwards, just come over to my YouTube channel and it should be available within a couple of hours after we stream. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes YouTube's slow. It just really depends on what they're feeling like. Oddly enough, you were talking about the coin op conversation of video games and everything. That Avengers game, man, not doing good at all. They keep hyping it up, but the numbers keep dropping.
That's what happens when you make a looter shooter with no loot.
That game's dead, man.
Anthem.
that game's dead.
It's really sad because I love Square. Yeah. So I'm just really surprised that this is the product they put
Square's
out.
Just published it, but still, Crystal Dynamics is still a good developer. It's like, these decisions are coming from the top down. The executives are going by like a checklist of what they want, and it just does not work.
Yeah.
Ever. I've never
really
seen that work
because I was excited about that game and then it just didn't do anything. It's really weird.
That's what happens when you have dull loot, dull costumes, and just microtransactions out the ass. And when you have stupid like corporate tie-ins like Verizon and 5Gum, who cares?
So I'm thinking, do you think that that maybe they just didn't understand what people wanted?
Exactly.
Do you think that's what it was?
They did not understand what people want.
Like the top end just didn't know what people wanted from a Marvel game.
Because
the Mandalorian just got added to Fortnite, right? Like he's a character in Fortnite now.
He's canon to Fortnite. Yep.
Fortnite does a better job of like the hype level in these characters in a looter shooter game.
That's more of a battle royale, but
well, still though it's got loot, it's got shooting. It's not exactly the same, but I get what you're saying. But I mean, the mechanics are close enough that they could have done something like Fortnite with this Avengers game, and it probably would have been much better.
And you know that the DLC character that they're bringing in is just a female Hawkeye. Who cares?
Yeah.
She looks like some woman I saw at the grocery store. She doesn't look interesting.
Well, the thing is that she is a real character. She's just a niche character. So I'm all for adding niche characters, but like we've said before, this game is dying, and they could add other characters that have already been, mentioned to try and breathe life back into the game. A niche character is not going to bring it back in the game, in my opinion.
Well, I think they're hoping because Kate Bishop is going to have a show with Hawkeye on Disney Plus. I think they're hoping that would have somehow marketably lined up with each other, I guess. Because the truth of the matter is there's a lot of comic book fans that probably do like Kate Bishop, but in the worldwide, spectrum or whatever, they need the show to prop her up to make people want to come to the game. Because think about it, if you think of all the characters you could add to the game as DLC to bring people in, I don't think she's one that I would have thought of. So
Spider-Man is going to be in the game only if you have a PS4 or 5.
Yeah, because of Sony. Yeah. It was just not. It was one of those things where it could have been great. And it just was not great, unfortunately. But the only reason I brought it up is because of Mando being in Fortnite, which I thought was kind of interesting. I saw the trailer for that today. And speaking of trailers, by the way, guys, anybody who comes on and watches my trailer breakdowns or whatever would love to do a trailer breakdown of the new Superman and Lois trailer, but it literally has a copyrighted song blaring through the trailer.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So
I'm actually looking forward to it, though. I'm actually, I was big into the CW shows for the first few seasons of each show, and then I kind of fell off towards the end of them. But I think the show looks interesting, and I'm going to give this one a serious shot. Lord knows I'm giving Walker a shot.
Yeah, so I've heard bad things about Walker. Well, really? Let's talk about that for a moment. We don't have to get into spoilers because I don't think it really matters. But apparently he says that he did not want to show his kids like the Supernatural series or whatever, and that he wants Walker to be like this family friendly series or whatever. And that's kind of the direction of the show. But you don't have to be family friendly and also not good.
Family friendly doesn't mean just bad.
Yeah. So it's a little bit weird.
I'm 3 episodes deep into Walker, and oddly enough, my family likes it. I am struggling. I'm struggling, but I'm giving it a shot. I like all the actors in it. Yeah, they have really good actors and actresses in it.
Good. Jared is good. He just
the thing with Jared though is like every time he talks, he's always got this facial expression, like he's struggling to be alive. It's so I don't know. I'm just so used to his face. Like,
has he roundhoused anyone yet?
Yeah. I just think it's weird. No. So I think it's weird though that you spent a decade plus on Supernatural, right? And everybody loved you for that show. And then you make comments about how you didn't want to show it to your family and stuff like it just comes across like, I don't know, like you don't care. And I get that he's being real and there's a bit of vulnerability to that I can respect. But at the same time, I don't know, kind of keep that stuff to yourself a little bit, I guess. It's a little strange because you're trying to prop up your new show, but you don't want to drag down your old show in the process.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good that he's still like on CW and still having a what seems to be a successful show. I mean, it's already been like what is it? They put in for more episodes to be filmed.
Yeah, that one I think they're getting 2 or 3 more episodes this season.
It's doing very well. Unfortunately, I'm watching it, but man, it's like it's not that good.
Right. Is it at least good?
No, it's not. It's just bad.
It's not even good cheesy.
No. It's one of the shows where suspension of disbelief is kind of a problem.
Well, how does this tie into the original one? Because I watched the original.
We don't know. There's no answer to that right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so far there's nothing. He has the same name as the original Walker Texas Ranger. It's the same name.
Oh God, please don't tell me it's a reboot.
I think it is a reboot.
I think it is too, but even if it is, it's I don't know. It's not that good. It's not that interesting. But I'm giving it a shot. It might grow.
So let's move on. The first thing we want to talk about is Blade. We have some Blade news. Actually, 2 things about Blade that we're going to talk about, and it's actually pretty interesting. So, as we know, the the movie. See, I was under the impression they changed it to a TV show, but apparently it's still a movie.
Okay, cool.
So, and we know Mahershala is still attached to this. And it said Marvel's Blade reboot gets a new title in the MCU. And here it says the lengthier title, which is oddly reminiscent to another famous vampire hunter, has likely been applied in order to differentiate Marvel's take on the Daywalker to one of the popular Wesley Snipes led franchise. The title is going to be Blade, the Vampire Slayer. That is the full title.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
I like it.
You like this title. What do you think,
Yeah.
Cyber? Do you have a problem with it, or
well, here's the thing. They haven't really said if this is going to be like a dark series or if it's going to be more the typical Marvel like family friendly series, right? Like, do we think this is going to be a Buffy? Or is this going to be dark? I'm going to be 100% honest. I haven't kept up with any news. There's not a lot of it out there for this series. But is this supposed to be like a family friendly Blade, or is this like the usual dark Blade?
I don't know.
How
can you do a family friendly Blade?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if this title is a play on Buffy, I mean, Buffy was really a campy show, which we loved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the movie, it was campy. I enjoy it. But
the series
is that the route we're going?
So if you think of Buffy, Angel to me was a better show. And I hate to say that because I loved Buffy, but I think Angel's balance of their humor and their darker tones was better than Buffy's. I think Buffy was campy and funny, and I loved it for that. But I really, really loved Angel. Here's where I'm going with this. Angel wasn't R-rated, yet it was still a good show. Yeah.
So do you take Blade that direction? Do you keep it dark in tone, but light with humor? And does that work for Blade? I mean, does it work for Blade?
Well, the Wesley Snipes was kind of like that. He cracked some jokes and one-liners here and there. So
they did, but that Blade was a lot not Marvel, if that makes sense.
So here's the other thing, though. Wesley Snipes. Okay, so Mahershala is very talented, and he does great stuff. Do you think he can pull off the same swag that Wesley Snipes did when he was Blade? Because one thing Blade had in his movies was he had a bit of swag to him that I think was kind of the charisma of Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like when you're watching Will Smith or The Rock or, Vin Diesel or these actors who they always bring a little bit of themselves into a role. And if they don't, a lot of times the roles don't work. They have to have that bit of charisma in there. So the success of Blade as a movie franchise, I think the weight of that was on the shoulders of Wesley Snipes because he was so good in that role. So the thing with this movie is Mahershala has to capture that same lightning in a bottle, that magic that Wesley Snipes had, but at the same time do it in his own way, because you don't want it to be a copy of those movies as well. You want it to feel like it's its own thing. Because if you all remember, there was a Blade TV series. And
it was horrible.
It was horrible.
It's really bad.
I forgot about that.
It was bad.
Yeah. The acting was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was on Spike TV.
Remember that? Yeah.
Really
I forgot about that. I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, it was a bad series. It kind of focused on the side characters more than it did Blade, which was one of the biggest problems of that show. Anyway, let's read on here with this article. It says very little is known about Blade the Vampire Slayer, with Oscar-winning actor Mahershala Ali, the only actor attached to the project so far. Earlier this year, the Moonlight and Alita Battle Angel star explained why he was drawn to the titular role of the comic book character, in particular, saying, "Since we are having conversations about it bringing back into being, I just wanted to be considered for it because I definitely had a connection, at least in my mind, to Wesley Snipes going back to high school." So he was inspired by Wesley Snipes, and that's probably a good thing.
Thank you.
I just brought it up as someone who really wanted to take on that Blade role and tackle it. I love that it's darker. So there he goes. He continued, in terms of the tone, he's a little bit darker than some of the other ones, and so that element was attractive to me. So I don't know if he means just the character in general, if he's talking about this particular movie. But it sounds to me like he was inspired by Wesley Snipes, and that's a good thing, because I think the one general consensus about Blade, whether you loved the movies, you hated the movies, or you only liked a certain amount of them, is that Wesley Snipes was the perfect person for that role. He literally embodied that character. And I would say that he opened up the eyes for a lot of people to that character even existing, honestly, because I think a lot of people probably didn't even know that Blade was a thing.
Yeah, a lot of people forget it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah. So it goes on here, it goes, while the plot details remain unknown, Blade the Vampire Slayer will likely reset the franchise, which we kind of assume that would happen, and tell all new adventures of the part vampire, part mortal man who becomes a vampire hunter to protect the human race. Though he has all their strengths and none of their weaknesses, Blade still does require blood to survive, creating an eternal struggle that is often ripe for drama. I guess it's probably the one thing that I'm going to have the most trouble with in Marvel is you introduce vampires, you introduce this idea of blood. How is that going to be PG-13?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, it's like it's really hard to have a good family-friendly vampire movie unless it's Sesame Street's to count or Count Chocula.
Yeah. So again, in my mind, Marvel's had some misses. They've had some misses.
Oh yeah.
And I think I've put my faith in them in a lot of scenarios. And then there's some things that bother me, right? The things that bother me are when they don't promote it, right? Or when they don't really like show you anything. And in this case, we're getting news now. I mean, it hasn't started filming or anything. So I think that's like, I want to see more and get an idea. But I think the actor they have playing it is phenomenal. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm still excited for it. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do yet. We're just going to have to wait. I'm hoping that it's going to be dark.
Pagey, this might be a chalk-free stream. This might be a chalk-free stream. We'll have to see. So yeah, there we go. It goes on further here, and we'll go further in the article. It says, so I'm probably going to get her last name wrong. I've tried to look up pronunciations for it, and I can't seem to find it. Stacey Osai Kafour. I think that's Osai Kafour. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I mispronounce it, I'm sorry. Who has now been brought on board to write the script for Blade the Vampire Slayer. Has already had some experience with the genre, having worked with HBO's critically acclaimed Watchmen series, which, by the way, is really good if you guys didn't get a chance to see it. In addition to Watchmen, Osai Kafour has also written for Hulu's coming-of-age comedy Pen 15, which is hilarious. That's a really good one too, which earned her an Emmy nomination for outstanding writing in a comedy series. So the thing is, she's done comedy and she's done drama because Watchmen is obviously a drama series.
I've yet to see that.
So Anthony here, this is a complete departure from what I just said. They got the writer from Watchmen series, which was not good. I love the Watchmen TV series.
Yeah, I hear some people say it's not good. Some people say I might be.
So
did it get canceled?
No, it was only one season.
They just ended. Yeah,
it was just a one season thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So some people didn't like it because of the twist of the characters, and I can't really get into that without spoiling the whole show. And literally the big twist are the big elements of the show. So I don't want to do that with anybody that hasn't seen it or whatever. But there's a lot of people that didn't like the context of the show. So it dealt a lot with race relations and stuff like that, social commentary, things along that way. And some people just didn't want that in the show. And if that's not the kind of content you like, I can understand if you're not going to gravitate towards the series. But outside of that, I think the series was well written, regardless of whether or not you liked what it was. I think she did a good job on that. And Pen 15 is really good too. So it really just depends. And we're going to wrap this up here. It goes, no release date has been announced for Blade the Vampire Slayer, but clues from the recent Disney Investor Day suggest it could hit theaters in 2022 between sequels Black Panther 2 and Captain Marvel 2, which would be an interesting place to put it because as a brand new series, how would it fit between those two films? And I think 2022 is a pretty good ballpark figure for this movie, considering it's heading into its development stages. So there we go. What do you say, Paige, here? Can we get a Snyder Cut reaction from your earlier season for 4 hours straight? Yeah, probably not. Let's see. All right, let's talk about, we'll move in. We're already 20 minutes in. Let's go ahead and talk about the Spider-Man news, which is kind of interesting. All right. By the way, I saw we had a super chat, but it is about WandaVision. So
we'll get to that.
So I actually put it up now, so it's there on the screen because I know it's going to disappear. Wanda is bonkers. Do you agree with Wanda with Vision going crazy? It's a $2 super chat from Sheldor. We cannot wait to talk about it. That's why I'm trying to get through this news quickly so we can get to WandaVision because we have so much to say, so much to talk about. But anyway, yeah, thank you for the super chat. We will definitely talk about Vision and all of that good stuff. All right, so this is from Tom Holland. This is from Variety, and it says, can you tell us anything about the upcoming Spider-Man movie that you're filming? His response is, obviously, I can't really say anything. And then they go, can you tell us what happens at the end, right? And obviously, he's not going to go further than that. But here's the quote that's kind of interesting to me, and I really want to garner your thoughts on this because I kind of had to sit back and just sort of think for a second. I can say it's the most ambitious standalone superhero movie ever made. Okay, that's the first line. You sit down, read the script, and you see what they're trying to do, and they're succeeding. It's really impressive. I've never seen a standalone superhero movie quite like it. And I'm just like, again, that lucky little who happens to be Spider-Man in it. We've got a lot more shooting to do. We started before Christmas and shot for 7 weeks. We've stopped for the Christmas break, and we're starting again. I'm just excited as everyone else is, let alone be a part of it. All right, so he says that this movie is the most ambitious standalone superhero movie ever made. Thoughts on that?
Okay, I'm intrigued. It better be.
Well, here's the thing, right? That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Ambitious doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Mhm.
So
That's what I say. I'm intrigued, but it's
we'll have to wait and see. I'm
We'll see
super excited. I want to see a little bit of I want to see a little bit of it though, right? Because we know that it's a Marvel film, but mostly it's Sony.
Mhm.
And Far From Home was a pretty good film. But what was the other one? The two. Was two Far From Home?
Two. Homecoming.
Okay,
was
yeah.
one.
Homecoming was one. Far From Home was kind of like, right? So I'm just gonna wait and see. But I know this one has potential.
I mean, we've got Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness coming. That's going to be crazy,
I can't
right?
wait. Yeah, I can't wait for that.
What about Captain America Winter Soldier? What about Captain America Civil War?
Yeah, Civil War. Like someone in the chat just mentioned Civil War. I was like, yeah, is it more ambitious than that?
I
There's
don't
no
have
way.
I would like to
There's no
believe
way.
this because Spider-Man is a huge character. I would like to believe this. If this is true, what could be in this film? I mean, we know we're getting there's already rumors that Andrew Garfield ordered food on DoorDash in Atlanta. No confirmation of that or denial.
Well, and his Twitter bio has him in Georgia as well.
Yeah.
It's his location.
So let me ask you this. If this movie drops in multiple Spider-Men, right?
Mhm.
If it drops in Sinister Six characters from all the different franchises to sort of make one cohesive Sinister Six or whatever, do you think that is enough to beat out some of these other standalone superhero movies that you love? Would that be enough for that? Just that alone?
I don't think it's better. I just think what happens is when you set a bar, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it over 1,000 times again. When you set a bar at a certain height, any movie that you make under that bar is now subpar. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to constantly raise that bar to reach the standard of previous films in order to make the norm the norm.
See, look,
right?
William Dafoe. They're saying William Dafoe has been
cited.
Yeah.
So if you have, the Avengers films with these huge, big battles, even if you make a good film after that, it's going to seem lackluster because the previous film had so much content.
Mm-hmm.
So packing a lot of content in a film doesn't necessarily mean a good thing if it's not explained in a way that makes sense. Otherwise, it's Justice League.
Yeah, I was just about to say, otherwise we get Justice
Otherwise,
League.
it's Justice League.
Yep.
So in this case, it can be done very well, but from every Marvel film from here on out, like look at the Ant-Man and Wasp film, okay? Not a bad film per se. If it was a film that came out before the other ones, it would have been like, man, it had all this cool elements with the quantum realm and the other. Yeah. But so many other films came out prior to that that were so much bigger in scale. The movie was kind of like, the movie's kind of like whatever. So Spider-Man kind of has to go that route. And unfortunately, that's what you're going to start seeing in most Marvel films is they're going to have to be super big in scale or it's kind of like, So we'll see. I want to see what it does, but I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on some points, but sometimes it doesn't. It's like you have this big scale movie over here, but then it's kind of like you don't need to be big. Well, actually, yeah, maybe you do because these are comic characters.
Think about it, right? We're gonna for the chat. If you guys if you guys watch anime and you see Dragon Ball, for instance, or if you watch Naruto or any of those, right? The character gets so strong that every villain has to be even stronger than that to keep the story going, right? So every film in the Marvel universe has to be bigger, or it looks lackluster. And Spider-Man by himself is a great character, but also because of the Spider-Verse and everything that can happen, you can easily make a huge film out of it.
So would you say that if Spider-Man doesn't actually do all the stuff that's been leaked to the news, that it's going to be a disappointment? Because I feel like
that's exactly what I'm saying.
I feel like all these leaks. So if they don't deny them, then they allow them to fester and they allow them to grow. So any disappointment that comes out of the
kills
movie,
your expectations.
Yeah,
because you set a bar of, that's what I'm saying, most ambitious film, and then you go in and it's like, that wasn't the most ambitious film.
Yeah, no.
So I'm waiting for trailers. I'm waiting for synopsis.
Yeah, like Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
I still enjoy that game, but they hyped it up so much, and it's
hype is good if you're delivering on the hype.
If you're delivering on that hype, oh yeah, it's great.
But if you know something isn't true, you need to come out and say it. That's the thing. Like if all of these people rumored to be in the film that are spotted on set with like all of these leaks and whatever, if they don't come out and say that they're not going to be in it, and you hear Tom Holland say something like it's the most ambitious movie, standalone superhero movie ever made, which by the way, can we determine what a standalone superhero movie is? Does that mean you're the only hero in the movie? Because if you say that, then that makes it sound like there aren't going to be any other Spider-Man in the movie. It's just going to be him versus the entire Sinister Six.
And that's not ambitious, if you ask me.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. So news is great. Hype is great. But the hype is generated by people, not Marvel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Marvel's not generating the hype. So I kind of don't want to be like, oh man, this is super great. Because then if they're not there, I'm like, oh, I kind of did this to myself. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying about Daredevil. Daredevil being in it. I'm like, till I see that, we're going to wait and see.
Maintain your expectations.
Yes.
Gary Gammon with 190 super chat. So Black Lightning won't get delayed, right? Well, I hope not, because it comes out Monday. So I'm hoping no. Hoping it doesn't. I mean, we're one day away. Actually, probably coming up on exactly 24 hours away. So no, I hope it does not get delayed. Let's see. Gary, I don't really understand how that question is relevant. Thank you for the donation. There's a lot of ways that happens. There's
multiple reasons. I mean, if you're, I don't know how old you are, if you're young and you don't, and you don't know what reasons can cause that, that's not really something for this stream, but
thank you for the donation.
Yeah. I mean,
feel free to ask more questions, but yeah, I'm not going to get into this.
That's
a little too personal.
All right, so let's step away for a second and do a shout out to the Team Eric members.
Give them some love,
and we will be back in just a moment.
We'll grab another drink.
So you may be asking yourself, how do I become a Team Eric member and help support the channel? Well, it's actually quite simple. You head down below the video you're watching right now or any video on my channel, you click the join button and it pulls up a page where you can see all the perks available to you, custom badges, emojis, exclusive content, and early access. Then you click the join button. It's that simple and it does help support the channel. Become a Team Eric member today. Thank you. It is that simple. What are you talking about? It's very easy. It's very easy to do. So no, I'm not mad at anybody, guys. Like, it's like, you would know if I was mad. Trust me.
You would know.
Anyway, so all right, so here we go. This is the point of the show where I have to put up this little display right here. WandaVision spoilers.
What?
If you have not watched episode 5 on this very special episode of WandaVision, you have to look out for spoilers because that is what we're getting into here. Guys, WandaVision is moving along quite well. I'm actually glad that it's not bingeable at this point because I do believe that the format is helping the show. Although I think going back on a second watch.
Yeah.
And
the second watch it and binge. Yeah.
I don't I don't know what we're dealing with on the show. There's so many possibilities on what could be happening.
This is one of those situations where I was just talking about Spider-Man or the hype, right? There are so many deep cut and Easter eggs. There's so many that people are talking about on like, Twitter and like certain websites, and I'm watching and I'm like, I didn't even realize that was what was happening in certain scenarios.
I had to rewatch it again today.
If that's not what's happening, like I said, like this has potential to be an absolute masterpiece, but it also has potential to really upset me because it could have Lost syndrome. And if you watched Lost, you understand what I mean.
Yeah. So Zoko here with a question, and we talked about this a little bit last week. What Avengers? I don't think the Avengers are even a proper team anymore.
There is no Avengers.
Yeah,
we have Doctor Strange doing his own thing. We have Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Doctor Strange was never an Avenger. Let's look at the Avengers. Black Widow's dead. Spoiler. Hawkeye retired. Iron Man's dead. Hulk is essentially like he's essentially done fighting, right? And his arm, we don't even know if that healed. So there's that. And then there's Thor, who's not on Earth anymore.
Yeah, he went with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So there is no Avengers. Captain America retired. Who would they contact?
Spider-Man? I mean,
he's doing whatever he's doing in the third movie.
He's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They'll explain that in his film. Mm-hmm. You got to understand, we addressed this last time. There's no reason for them to contact superheroes because a lot of them aren't even around anymore, or they didn't know about. They're not going to contact Black Panther. They don't even know he exists.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Or where he is. They know he exists.
The only two that they probably have tabs on, like totally tabs on, is Falcon and Winter Soldier. And they're not really...
Yeah, and they have a show.
Yeah, and how would they be helpful in the situation? They wouldn't be. Like... I mean, maybe to talk her down, but they don't even know this.
Like... If she's in the state that she's in, they can't fight her.
Yeah, they already tried to talk her down.
We'll get to that in
the episode. We also don't know what and we went over this last week. We don't know what these characters are doing when they're not there. We don't know what they're doing. I mean, I could do this every week. Watching Batwoman, I could say, well, why didn't she call the Flash? Watching Supergirl, why didn't they call the Flash? Why didn't they call Batwoman? Like, you could do that on every show. I mean, it's literally that's the function of suspension of disbelief.
And a lot of it too is like they didn't figure out what was going on until this episode, and they still don't really know what's going on. And it's like,
and we know that Scarlet Witch is going to be in the Doctor Strange movie in a big way. So I'm guessing that is going to be the connection to that. Something's going to happen, and that's the connection to that.
And now that they know we're going to get into it, but when she did what she did, like maybe they will contact somebody. You don't know.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're using in terms of your criticisms of the show, you can have that opinion and I respect it from your point of view, but from that's going to really make it hard for you to enjoy any superhero show.
I just don't understand why everything has to be a team up. It doesn't have to be. Like they're allowed to do standalone stories.
Yeah, so if that's hurting your opinion of the show, I would highly recommend dialing back your criticisms. Not because I'm from someone that's super critical.
Yeah, it's coming from this guy. Holy crap.
Yeah, I am super critical, but you're going to set yourself up for not enjoying. Don't even watch shows.
Well, the thing is also you have to wait until the story. Like, let them tell the story. Like, we don't know. We're asking the question. That's fine, but saying it in a way that's like, oh, they've made a mistake and they're held responsible for it. They don't trust superheroes to begin with. That's how we got here. Like,
and they think Wanda's a bad guy. So,
oh yeah,
I don't care what Boba's having an issue with. So the thing is, what? People keep saying Boba's saying it's a problem. This isn't. I don't care. I don't care. It's another content creator. It's another content creator. No disrespect to him, but okay. I mean, do you guys go in his show and say that Eric says stuff is a problem? If you do, please don't. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to get different perspectives, but
yeah, definitely. But,
yeah, I mean,
if you're here to hear our perspective, we're not really interested in others, if that makes sense. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, especially other content creators. I don't want to. I don't. It's not fair to have a go at somebody else who I have worked with in the past on here with them not being here to defend their opinions. I feel like that's not fair. So I'm just not even going to address that.
Well,
if he wants to come on the show,
that's what I meant.
I actually asked Boba to come on the show before, right? It's one of these things. It's where I've said you're available to come on. It's a weird time zone thing. It's just not there.
So Zuko, that's not an attack on you, buddy. I know you come in my stream a lot. It's just if that's your opinion of shows, man, try to dial it back.
Well, I'm just we're talking about a great show. We're getting sidetracked here because people are trying to be negative, and let's get away from that for a second and talk about how awesome the show was. Because just because they don't have the Avengers on speed dial, who gives it? Basically,
who cares?
So we end up finding out that we do a blend this week between like the stuff that's going on
the real world and Wanda world.
And Wanda, right.
And
I was a little bit concerned on how they were going to handle this because it is so vastly different. Because once we came out of that and started doing the real world stuff, I was wondering how we were going to go back to it, because it sort of felt like, well, now you've pulled the curtain away and we know. But it doesn't matter. Wanda's in control of her own world, and they call it the Hex, which is based on the shape of the
which is really cool. I think that's really cool
that
that's how they use that to name her magic, because they haven't really done that in the series or in the MCU.
They haven't even called her Scarlet Witch yet, so
right, which may end up happening in this series. It's pretty good. I like that.
Oh wow, Scott Buck, please no, that was the showrunner for the Inhumans and the first Iron Fist season. Yeah, they better not do that.
Ew.
It better not happen.
I will literally, I won't even watch it if that was the case.
So yeah, they use the Hex. That's a cool way to bring that in from the comics, which I thought was kind of interesting. And of course, Darcy was excited because they stared like saying or whatever.
You used it.
So I didn't realize how much I liked her character until we had her in this series. Like
I said, I love Kat Jennings, and in Thor, I'm purposely taking over your show. In Thor, she was just the side character. So I really like that they're giving her a push. I think it's great.
Yeah, she's funny. So we have this, we have Monica, who is being basically briefed on what just happened. And they're trying to do scans on her, and the scans aren't working. They're getting a lot of feedback on them. Like, it's hard to see when they're taking like MRIs and stuff of her or whatever, which leads me to believe that we are going to end up seeing her with some form of her comic book powers, the photon powers, the Captain Marvel powers that she had in the comics, which I think is cool. I mean, she's a comic book character that a lot of people who read comics recognize and know who she is, but the media may not know her as well. So I think it's a good opportunity to like introduce her and bring her in. Do you think, based on what we've seen, because she seems to be in defense of Wanda, like she doesn't seem to think Wanda is doing this maliciously, do you think she's going to have to fight with Wanda with these new powers, or do you think she's going to help Wanda? Because out of everybody in the base, she seems to be the one person who is basically saying that Wanda isn't like doing all these awful things.
Yeah, because she has first person knowledge of what's going on. She was literally in there, and she probably knows that she's doing this out of grief.
Yeah,
and not really out to maliciously hurt someone. She just wants her perfect world.
Well, I mean, yeah, we kind of already get that. We just don't know how subconscious it is. Like, we're not totally sure. We do get a brief moment in this episode that I think was awesome, and we will get to that in a second. But I want to kind of stick with the Monica stuff for a moment. What did you think about the reveal that the clothing was just reality warped?
It was a regular Kevlar vest and everything, just rearranged and changed.
Does this make you guys think that it's quite possible that some of the stuff inside the Hex could actually come out and be alive now? Because the change happened at a molecular level, basically.
So
actually, we already got a glimpse of this. We know when it had the one guy in the bee suit who was going in the sewer, and they pulled this line back,
and it was a jump rope.
So we're this is even more.
Yeah.
So does that more into that?
So she resurrected Vision. Is that what we're getting from this?
Yes,
that's what I'm thinking.
So when she saw Vision, she like lost control of it, and we saw the dead Vision, zombie Vision last episode. if he goes out, which I know we've seen in trailer images and leaked images, what would happen, but is this that way of like pretty much? I think it's like a hint is he can come out and not be destroyed. He'll be normal Vision. I think is that what they're getting at for this sole purpose is that he can leave there and just be Vision again.
I would love for that to be the case, but I think that would be problematic for the films moving forward to have Vision come back.
You see him doing his Mind Stone powers and stuff in the Hex. So
he hasn't used his Mind Stone.
Well,
he had all those.
Oh, he had all those powers before.
Well, I've never seen him do that. No.
The thing where he takes the person out of the trancing, that was definitely Mind Stone. That had to be.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I figured. Like,
where else would he get those powers from?
Yeah, well, at the same time, didn't he use like super speed, which he never used in the MCU prior to this?
He was fast, but I can't explain that one, but I do know that the touching of the mind thing was definitely the Mind Stone. Because remember, Loki mind controlled people.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It's so interesting. I think I read a theory that somebody was saying that the commercials are representations of the the Infinity Stones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, that's so crazy. She's so powerful, dude. It's crazy.
So, I mean, if she did bring him back and give him the power of the Mind Stone back, that's
weird.
That's crazy.
Maybe there's some weird multiverse stuff going on where the Mind Stone from some other universes coming in. I don't.
So, knowing that things change according to the time period that she's warping things into, Monica comes up with the idea to send something through that's from that time period. So they pull out a Stark Tech drone from the 80s and decide to send that one through. And then we have one of the TV tropes that I think you see a lot, where obviously the military armed the weapon,
I know, shoot a missile. It's like, I didn't know it was armed.
And I'm like, when she said she'd lost control, I was like, wait a minute, what? And then I realized that the other person had control. And
because he made a quick nod to the other person and they just completely took over.
As soon as he said take the shot, I was like,
why? What makes
you
think
see
that
what she's doing?
Yeah, what makes you think a missile's going to take her out?
Her own world, and you're going to just take her out. Yeah, you might as well have just done a sniper. You know what I mean? If she saw it coming, there's no way.
Well, the thing was, she was totally aware of it because she was literally blocking the drone out from the transmission that she was sending out to them, meaning that she could make it disappear. So I'm like, take the shot. Like, really? So then this leads to a moment where, well, go ahead.
No, I was like, I get where he's coming from, where he has this huge threat. He has people under hostage and everything. It's like, take out the person. We got the main person right here. Get rid of her.
Well, the
you're
thing
just
is, though,
not doing that to freaking
the thing
Wanda,
that the military characters in movies never realize is how does he know taking her out wouldn't have some adverse effect on the cosmic energy around this? Like if he killed,
it's like I get it,
if he shot her and did end up killing her, what if the whole thing exploded? Like you don't know what it's going to do,
or the stuff that she's holding together. Like what if those kids then all of a sudden, they're still around and now you just killed their mom. Like, wait, are you serious? Like, I mean, military.
Do you really want to do that?
Right.
So Cody says there's a backup of Vision in Wakanda. I think they're going backwards and we're going to go get Wonder Man from both will exist after this. That would be cool. I'd be okay with Wonder Man because we've never seen him in live action. I don't think so. Yeah, that would be kind of neat.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. So Sheldor here with the $2 super chat. I think that Evan Peters is Mephisto in disguise. That's a running theory. We'll get to him in a second. I do want to talk a bit about I want to talk a bit about Vision some more, and I do want to talk about this, but I want to get into what happens after he tries to take the shot. Wanda's like, you know what? It's time for me to go and just have a conversation with them.
Look, here's your piece of crap. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Now, what do you want? Get rid. Like, I have what I want. Piss off.
So when she walked out and she had her accent back again, because you could still hear the accent.
Wasn't that weird?
Yeah.
That's kind of like her reverting back to her Strucker days,
which is what I think they're trying to do. Because there is a rumor that she's going to be the bad guy of Doctor Strange, that she's going to be the bad guy in Multiverse of Madness.
Oh my God. It's so interesting. And also it's interesting too, the commercials. I want to talk about the commercials for a bit. Somebody was saying Lagos. That the Lagos was, if you listen to it, it's like a mess that you accidentally created. You can, clean up or whatever.
And that red liquid you're trying to clean up.
That's kind of like in reference to the oh my god, I can't think of the film that it was. Was it Civil War? Yeah, Civil War, where the Hulk was fighting. Was it Civil War?
What scene are you talking
Where
about?
she, or was it was Age of Ultron?
Age of Ultron.
What am I talking about? Where she,
Everything is Age of Ultron in this movie or this show, pretty much.
Right, but it's like where Hulk and Iron Man were fighting each other.
Yeah,
She caused that, cleaning up a mess that you created.
but she also Lagos was the name of the city in Civil
That's where they
War,
were.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it was definitely a connection, and I love that. I love these little callbacks to all of this.
Metaphors all over this series.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, if you really look at her story, she's struggling mentally.
She is.
I mean, she was her fault that the whole Civil War thing created.
The Sokovian Accords were because of what happened when she tried to save those people in the building, when she stopped crossing.
And then she couldn't save Vision, no matter how hard she tried, and literally watched him die twice. Like,
so what? When she comes out though, and she throws the drone at them, and they have that moment where all the weapons are like pointed at her. There was like a combination of guns and I guess lasers or whatever, all pointed at her, and she's like, yeah, do you really want to try that? Because it didn't work so well when you tried it on me a second ago. So if you think that you couldn't do it then, imagine now when I'm actually paying attention. Like, it's not going to happen.
And then she pulled.
That was reminiscent to Magneto, basically, is what people were saying.
Oh, that's true. But also, she pulled a freaking Purple Man.
Yeah,
from
everybody's turned.
Yeah, just turn the guns on the house.
Yeah,
I was so
like,
good.
I was so
into it.
Mind Control Wanda has always been the bad guy version. She did not use this power when she was on the Avengers. It was literally something she didn't use. And I think it had to do with the fact that she probably saw it as being something awful.
Now she just don't care.
So, right. So she does that, and then she walks back into the hex, and it turns red. And
strengthened.
So, yeah, that's something that I would like to be interested in as well. Do you think that the original blue was not her? And that's her trying to regain control? Going red?
Maybe. I think maybe when it was blue, it was just just her own world. Now that she knows they're trying to break in, she just strengthened it, which made it turn red. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, one of the things we know from this episode is that she isn't controlling everything. There's someone else.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. So when her and Vision get in their conversation, and he said he can't remember anything. We obviously know why he can't remember anything, because she literally resurrected him and he was dead. Do we think that she made a deal with someone else to help create this world, and that's why she didn't say she's not fully in control, but slowly she is? I think
she also said that she doesn't. She just remembers waking up in this. Like, I think is what she said.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know if she did that, because when Agnes came in, she said, "Do you want me to do this over?"
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Agnes, I think, is fully aware. Let's talk about Agnes for a moment. So Agnes, everybody is pretty confident that she's going to be Agatha Harkness, which is calls back to like the days of House of M, calls back to the days of Pandemonium when the children were created, calls all the way back to the days of Fantastic Four. This is a character that kind of has always been a nanny type character, and that's kind of her role. And so in this episode, when she shows up, she's like, I have some tricks up my sleeves.
Right. And she
comes in like she knows everything about even when the kids grew up to age 5, and Vision was like, wait a minute, she's right there. Or when she did something, I forgot what it was, and Vision was right there. Oh, and she made the little collar for the dog. Yeah. And he's like, wait, she's right there. She's like, she didn't know this. And I think that right there is when Vision was like, something's wrong.
Right. So, yeah, Cody, exactly. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But yeah, so when she comes in, she's there with the children.
Right.
And the children, if you noticed, the 2 times that they aged up in this episode happened while Agnes was around.
Yeah.
And I think she was trying to do it a 3rd time with the dog. So the other thing is Agnes.
I think she killed the dog, by the way.
No,
she killed the dog.
I think she created 100%. The dog as well.
She created the dog and killed the dog.
I think she did that as well, because I think she wants the kids to be evil.
Yeah, it was all manipulation. It was all manipulation from her. And that's why I think it leads me into the whole idea of Pandemonium, because Pandemonium was a character from the comics who took the shards from Mephisto to create the children. So
I'm telling you, this show has layers upon layers upon layers, that if they can answer all these questions without it being just like, oh my God, what about this? What about that? I'm telling you, I said it since episode 1. It's a slow
It's either
burn, but this has
amazing
it has the opportunity to be a masterpiece.
or it's crap.
Yeah. But the thing is that Agatha, we're talking about the mind control in the comics, she makes Wanda forget that she even had children. So that's part of her powers is the ability to like somewhat manipulate people's memories, which would explain why people are forgetting things or whatever. So Wanda may be telling the truth. So remember when I don't remember, did the guy in the office building, Norm, I think is his name?
Yeah.
Norm.
Did he specifically say Wanda?
No. Mm-mm. He said she is in control or whatever. He didn't say Wanda. It was an assumption.
Because when I watched it again, I was actually listening for it. He's like, no, he just said she.
So I'm wondering if there is a bit of stuff that Wanda is controlling and a bit of stuff that Agnes is controlling. I think,
which is why I think she made a deal, or I think that she.
Well, yeah, he said her, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't mention anyone by name.
Right. I think I honestly think that they are in tandem, and she's slowly trying to take control of what's happening. I think Wanda's intentions are pure and it's based on her family, while I think Agnes is doing something completely different. That's what I think is happening. Okay. So good.
So moving forward, we have Vision, who freaks out when he talks to Norm and, automatically assumes that it's Wanda doing it because they have that moment where the sword email comes through on the computers.
I think whoever's controlling this, ultimately behind this thing, was just intercepted that and was just reading. It's like, oh, good luck.
Yeah. So we have this moment where he like breaks him out of whatever, where Norm is able to speak freely and stuff and whatnot. He comes back to the house, and this is the first time someone has challenged Wanda where Wanda doesn't immediately just toss them out. And obviously because it's Vision. But he says, he's yelling at her like, I don't remember anything before this. Like, I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to be. He's really upset this is all going on. And it seems to me like for a moment he's getting through to Wanda. And then we get a ring of the doorbell. Right? Did you guys have any idea? Did you think it was going to be Agnes? I thought it was going to be Agnes at first.
I thought it was Agnes. Yeah, I thought it was Agnes.
I thought it was Magneto for like a split second. I thought it was going to be Magneto. I was like, no.
Yeah, no. I thought it was Agnes. She opened the door, and then I was like, oh, it's her brother. Because on the back, the way they had the hair,
that's what I thought was Magneto for a second.
But it looks like the one from the MCU.
Yeah.
And then they show the plot twist
from Fox.
I like both actors. Okay.
Yeah, honestly, as much as I hate the X-Men movie, Quicksilver actually was one of the better parts of those crappy movies.
He was, and that's all the actor. So kudos to him. Great actor. I personally liked the MCU version, but when I saw him, I was like, I understand why they did this, but oh my God, what are they doing with this?
It's like Darcy even knows that they recast Pietro.
Yeah.
That was so. What is this? Just an Easter egg, or are we really like? Was it because they didn't have access to the other one and they wanted to use this one just for fan service, or are we really getting like what are we getting?
What's
here?
going on here? Yeah.
So let me say
they
this.
could have easily had the last guy, but no, they went with the Fox versions. Like,
I think the other Quicksilver fit better within the MCU, like in where he was in the MCU. However, I think this Quicksilver is the more modern Quicksilver.
And he has more personality. Again, I like both actors.
Also, wasn't this Quicksilver introduced in the 70s and 80s in the X-Men movies? I think it was either the 70s or the early 80s.
I think he was in which one was that in? I want to say Age of Apocalypse. It was Age of Apocalypse.
I think it was
He was in that, but I think it was Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past, yeah. It wasn't that. I don't know. I didn't watch that crappy movie. What was that set in?
I think it was set in a dumpster
fire, but
no, true.
Either way, it was a period film, and this character is coming from that period, right? The 80s. So it kind of makes sense that an 80s version of Quicksilver shows up in the 80s because her brother would not be that age in the 80s. So it makes sense that that's the one that shows up in terms of like the way they're trying to run the show. But I don't think she did it though. Like I think Agnes did it.
Yeah, because she looked just as shocked as anyone else.
Oh my
She even
god!
said I didn't do it.
So, is this? It's so interesting. Is this how they can introduce mutants?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
She's opening up a timeline where they can come through.
I think that we're going to see. So first of all, I don't think that Westview's breach is going to go away completely. I think that this particular place is going to open sort of like a portal into other realities. And I think that's what's going to sort of launch this multiverse of madness.
I think that they're probably going to when WandaVision ends. I think it's probably going to continue in Doctor Strange's movie.
Yeah. I mean,
this is probably just setting up for Doctor Strange. I think this is just setting up for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but the thing is, talking about Quicksilver, about him being there, being a Easter egg or whatever. I don't think it's an Easter egg. I think he's going to be a character. I think he is going to be a character moving forward, because now they have access to these characters. Before they didn't, obviously. But he is, if you take into account him being from the Fox franchise or whatever, he's the first mutant in the MCU now. He's the first one. They did not exist in the MCU until Quicksilver came over. So I wonder if this is going to introduce mutants through this bubble in Westview. Maybe the mutations start there, and that's how mutants get introduced into the Marvel.
I mean, they said there was thousands of people there, right?
Yeah, maybe these thousands are going to be mutants now.
That'd be so weird, though. Honestly, chat. Would we be okay with that as the way you bring X-Men? Is that it wasn't like it was all created through Wanda and Agnes? That it wasn't
that would
natural.
be weird.
Because the whole point of it is it was a natural mutation growing up, right?
Yeah.
Are we okay with that's how they introduced them?
Yeah, that'd be weird.
That's a good question. Captain J here with a $2 super chat. In the next episode, Vision awakes Agnes and said she needs help. Yeah, there's the trailer for the next episode that's been out or whatever, and it shows.
I haven't seen it. I don't think I want to see it.
That's when no. That's when she's in the car, right, for Halloween.
Yeah, it's been in a lot.
It's in all the trailers, and she's like, aren't you dead?
Yeah.
Or you're dead, or I can't remember.
He's like, am I? So it's like. Yeah. So, but I think the thing is, because it shows her laughing in the car, like with this creepy, like witch laugh or whatever. I bet she laughs because she's messing with him. Like he's going to try and touch her to like bring her back from mind control. And she's not under mind control. I think that's what's going to happen.
It's, like I said, at this point, everyone outside of reading spoilers ahead of time is theorizing. Everybody has different theories. I think that this roller coaster ride has gotten to the point now where we were climbing in the first couple episodes, where it's like the anticipation, where it's like chink, 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 chink. And then in the third episode, we were just kind of sitting there. And now we're on the downslope of absolute craziness. So once it levels out, man, I hope that we have enough time to unpack everything. And I hope a lot of these theories, because they've already came out and said a lot of people's theories are actually on the money, but they didn't say whose.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm just like looking at the Easter eggs, and I'm like, I read a lot. When I was younger, I read a lot of comics, but man, the fact that people can remember a lot of these deep cuts is absolutely crazy.
Even someone in the chat was saying like the first, I think it was like the first issue, not the first issue, whether in the issue that Pietro was first in, he was eating a popsicle, and he said in the show, he's like, "Hey, who's this popsicle?" That was kind of like a reference there.
Yeah,
I
that's crazy, right?
You said it, but thanks.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm glad we have geeks in the chat,
or people that know how to use Google, or people that know how to use Google.
Well, yeah, I mean that's fine. That's fine too.
I mean, still, if you bothered to look it up,
that's fine too.
Pagey says people calling it a cameo. He's a character integral to the story. It wasn't Ezra Miller, like when Ezra appeared on The Flash as in a cameo or whatever. Yeah, why would they introduce him in that scene and then just not have him be a part of the show? That doesn't really make any sense.
That's what I'm saying, though. He can be a part of the show, but going forward, like, I mean, he could get offed. But I'm like,
and also with
my thing was like bringing him back. Like, where do we go from here? Because he's actually really busted as a character.
Yeah, somebody was saying, "Are Wanda's kids the first mutants?" They're not even human. I don't think they're magical.
They're magic constructs.
So
yeah, as what I was about to say was maybe even going with the the family sitcoms of the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and whatnot. Since we're going in the 90s, of course, we're going to have the crazy brother just join in.
Oh yeah, because
especially with the intro especially with the intro was based off of Family Ties.
Jesse? Is he supposed to be Jesse?
He's the Jesse. The crazy brother-in-law shows up.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's
So
Yeah.
smart,
He's here to
man.
stay. Well, for as
That's-
long as this goes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's only
Yeah.
what 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
Somebody was
I think
saying there's
so.
rumored to be a 10th episode, but I don't know how true that is.
Probably. I think the 10th episode is
Crazy Cat Lady Gamer review with a $5 super chat and a Team Eric member. No Super Bowl for you tonight. No, not for me. I'm not gonna be watching that.
Super what?
Bull, like bowl, Super Bowl.
No, super what? What's the Super
My
Bowl?
mouth dropped when Quicksilver showed up. It did for me too.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, once that happened, I realized that there's nothing is off the table for the show. Speaking of that, talking about off the table as we wrap this up. Fantastic Four. Do you think there was a nod to that in this episode?
Yeah.
About
No, there's cuts. I've listened to cuts that were on this from the whiteboard where they had the way the number 4 was written up there to her saying the aerospace engineer that would be interested in it.
Yeah,
And
Lee
she
Richards.
said cosmic. She didn't say cosmic rays, but if you think about it, it was saying pretty much cosmic rays.
well, the wall around the hex is cosmic energy, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when Monica was talking about she needed some such and such metals to block these rays and stuff like that. That's what it was.
Yeah. Didn't Monica say her kids were real? You can still be real, but created by magic. Like that they're not an illusion, is what she was saying. It's not like they're hallucinations or they're
Vision's
transparent
real,
holograms.
but he's not human.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no way they could be mutants when one of the parents isn't even a human. I mean, at least I think that's the way it works. Paige, I can't wait for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
Oh God, please don't.
If this happened, I listen right now. in chat,
Although, yeah.
if they bring Hugh Jackman into this universe, I'm done with Marvel. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I'm done.
There's supposed to be another cameo or a surprise character.
No, I know if it's in Deadpool, I'm fine with that. Throw him in Deadpool, whatever. That's funny. Those two have great banter with each other. You bring him into this universe? No, I'm done.
So Cody says, I actually think this Blue Marvel or Riri Williams, because they're both engineers. Riri would probably be, if we're not going with the Fantastic Four, I would say Riri would probably be the one. But isn't she still very young? Not that matters.
I don't know.
But I don't know. Somebody else dropped another name drop on who they thought it was as well, but I think it's too far back there to do it. Let's see. Someone said if you put on the Spanish subtitles when Monica referenced the engineer, it was a female pronoun. Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe it is.
It could be Sue Storm then. They could be changing her into a engineer because they don't necessarily have to go with the exact same.
Because yeah.
So here
like I said, I just throw those two together because on the whiteboard the 4 was very prominent and it was spelt like the emblem.
I will say I don't think it's Shuri.
Nah, she's busy with stuff in Wakanda, probably dealing with Namor.
Yeah, but
but like I said, there's no reason for Kat Jennings' character to even know that she exists.
Yeah, but Abigail could be a possibility.
I mean, still not a bad guess.
If I'm wrong,
James Marston Cyclops. That's the original Cyclops from the original trilogy or whatever.
Dude, if they bring Magneto in,
I would actually like Fassbender's Magneto. Like if they want to bring him over,
that's fine.
I'm totally good with that. He was literally my favorite part of those movies.
Yeah,
easily.
I will bust. I'm not going to.
Hey, demonetize.
Yeah,
demonetize.
I'm trying to get you demonetized, dude. If they bring in Magneto, dude.
Jeez. So any thoughts or theories about what we're going to see? Because we're getting a Halloween episode next week, and the kids are probably going to age up again, I would guess. So my last thing about theories, about at least my personal theory, is I think we're going to get to a certain point in time where they catch up with modern times, and that's when the hex is going to break down. But the actual portal to whatever, because I think Agnes is trying to get to modern times, and that's why we're doing it this way. Like, I think there's a reason why we're going through decades this way, honestly.
It could be.
Any
possibility.
thoughts, Omega?
Dude, there's so much theory crafting going around here. Anything's freaking possible at this point.
So, this would be great. Arrowverse Scenes here says, imagine if we see someone dressed as Magneto in a Halloween.
Dog, I will bust a nut in walnuts.
He will
Because I like
crack one.
walnuts. I will
He'll
crack
crack
a
it.
walnut.
Oh my gosh.
Demonetized.
I just really like X-Men,
Absolutely
okay?
demonetized.
I just really like X-Men.
So here's the thing. If they bring the X-Men or they bring mutants in this way, it means that they're not changing the way mutants were created. They're just introducing them into the MCU.
Yeah. It's probably some weird multiverse, like how there's two different multiverses, they just kind of snap together and it's like as if they've always been. I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean, though.
Anyone's guess is as good as
If you
mine.
go back and you look at the Fox movies and you look at the way mutants were done, one of the things I will not argue against is the way they set up mutants in that franchise, like the way they had their powers and mutations and all that. So if you just want to bring that part of that story into the MCU, I think I'm okay with that. I think so. I might not like all those characters, but I'm totally okay with that.
Maybe the engineer she calls is Beast.
Maybe
it's Hank McCoy.
There's no. First of all, no. It has a 4 on the whiteboard. It's the Fantastic Four.
Your money's on Fantastic Four.
It is, but I don't like the Fantastic Four, so
they're okay.
So
I don't like them.
If they do it this way, though, this will make the Fantastic Four based in the MCU. And
Is it the Fan Four stick with Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm?
So Michael B. Jordan was the best part of that movie, I think, which is crazy because a lot of people were mad about that. But I think that he was probably one of my favorite parts of that movie. Was a mess.
Oh no! Can we talk about how when Darcy mentioned Captain Marvel, Monica was like,
"No, we can't talk about it." No.
So why do you think that was? What do you think the reason for that is?
I think she probably feels that Captain Marvel is responsible for her mom's condition and eventual death.
It's so. There's again, man, the cuts in this show, because in Endgame you saw how Captain Marvel was kind of really like off-put when they were talking about, her being on Earth, and then in this part she was clearly mad at Captain Marvel, and probably because of what happened to her mother, or something. So I gotta say, man, I hope we get more information on that. I hope they actually dive into that a little bit more. And they probably will in the next Captain Marvel film. Right. We probably won't see anything else about it until then, but I am actually really interested in what happened there.
If Monica Rambeau gets powers, cosmic powers from this show and does become Photon, will we see her have a battle between her, like Captain Marvel? Like, will her and Captain Marvel, I'm not saying they're going to be enemies.
I hope we see more of Rambeau, because she is an awesome actress. I'm really digging her. I want to see way more of her.
So, and the last thing we'll talk about before we wrap this up, because we're coming up on our end here, the end credit scene that was removed from Endgame that showed Wanda breaking into the facility and taking Vision's body, because that was originally going to be an end credit scene for Endgame. First of all, why do you think they took it out of the end credits? Do you think there was any reason why they?
They probably thought to save it for this.
I do think they wanted to save it for this, but at the same time, none of this stuff was announced. And if they would have shown that scene, at that point, it wouldn't have given an ending to Endgame, right? It would have that was the final step in that phase of all those films.
Yeah, that was the end.
They didn't want to start up. Right.
But they did have been like, oh, what's going on?
You hear the hammer of somebody not, and that obviously would make you think that Iron Man's daughter was, coming into her own as Ironheart, maybe. I don't know. But that was the only thing you got, or in most cases, people would have assumed that was just he started it. That was the ending of it. So I think that was smart to not have it there. I do think it's interesting that the Vision had a will that they knew about, and that they had his body and they had it in pieces, even though he didn't have a will. Why were they messing with his body? This could have also been a reason why Wanda was so pissed. Because why was he not buried? Why were they messing with his body?
Yeah, well, because it's a lot of vibranium. They probably just didn't want anybody to have it. That's probably what it was.
Definitely.
But she probably didn't care about that. She probably found it to be disrespectful, most likely. The truth is, she probably wanted to have his body anyway. She probably felt like that was my boy. They weren't married, right? So I guess, were they married? No, I don't think they were married. So I don't even remember because they were living together, but I don't remember if they were actually together. But anyway, so she wanted his body and whatnot because she thought that she could protect it. I mean, the truth is she could. Honestly, if you look at like what Wanda did, and they had this conversation in the episode, Wanda single-handedly fought Thanos. And
easily.
That's why I was like, well, maybe Captain Marvel could have. Yeah, whatever.
Captain Marvel is a brawler. I mean, she does have energy blast, but she's basically a brawler. Wanda, she doesn't have to be anywhere near you. She can fight you from pretty much any distance, really. But yeah, so they were saying, like, you talking about that and whatnot. That took me all the way back to the debates we've had about who the strongest Avenger is. And I would say outside of, so who would be your, we'll wrap it up with this question. If you had to pick 3 of the Avengers, whether they be part-time Avengers or full-time Avengers, anybody who's been in the MCU, who would be your 3 strongest characters?
Hulk. Hulk.
And
Really?
the MCU?
Thor. Also Thor. Hulk, Thor.
And the MCU, let's be, so pre-Infinity War, I would have said Hulk, right?
Yeah, now.
But he
ain't got the will anymore.
Ruined in the MCU.
Thanos, Thanos did do that infinite on him.
He ruined him, right? Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, Thor. Not necessarily in that order, but it's those 3.
Yeah,
so,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So it's hard for me to do a top 3 because my top 3 would contain some of Cyber's choices, but I can't forget about Doctor Strange as well.
Ooh, sure can.
Doctor Strange is really
he'd be number 4. He'd be right underneath them.
Doctor Strange could easily be one of those people, but he fought Thanos, and he did fight Thanos, and he put up a bigger fight than Thor did. So
he defeated Dormammu, basically. I mean, he bargained with him, but he defeated him.
That was whatever. That was the stone. That had nothing to do with Doctor Strange and everything to do with an Infinity Stone. But I would say Doctor Strange is a good. That's a. At the top 3, I guess between him and Thor, that would be the debatable part. But I don't think over Captain Marvel and Wanda, I don't even think that's a debate.
I think Captain Marvel and Wanda are 2 because they're powered by the Infinity Stones. Like it's really hard to take that away from them. I mean, the other day I was talking with a couple friends of mine, and we talked about how if you think back to some of the bigger moments in the Infinity War / Endgame, duo of movies, it's very hard to have a movie where every time a scene happens, you get goosebumps and you get that like cheering moment, more so than the Battle of Wakanda when Thor returns. When that moment happens, the theater we were in, if you guys remember, cheered. They literally cheered when that moment happened.
Oh, that I think Thor showing up in Wakanda is the greatest scene in the Marvel Universe.
He shows up. He's got Rocket with him, which is funny as whatever, and Groot. And it's like this moment, it's almost like that was the time when I immediately decided that Thor in the MCU is the equivalent of Superman in the DC films. Like in terms of like
more or less,
hope and power and, being the person.
Well, they kind of have several people that fit that role, but yeah, I see what you're going.
Well, I mean, in that moment. That moment. Yeah, very much that. And then like when Wanda shows up on the battlefield and she takes out all of those machines and all the different like drones out there, and they're like, I think it was which character was it? It was
Okoye.
Yeah. Okoye.
She's like, where were you the whole time?
Right, exactly. Like it just shows you that there's a certain level of power that these characters have that put them at a different space than everybody.
Yeah, they're on a different level.
And then you think of like Vision. Vision was extremely powerful. Like
in Age of Ultron and nothing else.
Here's the thing. Had he not been hurt by Corvus, I think he would have been just as.
But the thing was, they had to do that though, right? And that was kind of like they did the same thing with the Hulk. He was such a powerful character that they had to nerf him immediately in the film, or they would have always been questions like, how do you stop this character? So in theory, he's busted. But then they were like, oh, let's take him out of the equation.
Do you guys remember when Hawkeye tried to fight Vision and it was like, oh, it's just not going to happen. But yeah, you're right. So, I mean, Vision fully intact would be in the upper echelon of like power in the Avengers, I think. I don't know where we would fall because he's like this combination of technology and a stone. So I'm not sure where he falls in that, but he's definitely up there.
He would be in top 5, but he's not more busted than the top 3.
Yeah,
he's just not.
I think so.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I think that conversation was kind of funny when they had it in the show. I was like, this is totally a conversation that we would have because it's something that all the fans love. So I think WandaVision, if you are a huge MCU fan and you've watched everything MCU and you love the comics over the years, this show is delivering fan service and a great storyline. And that's not something that's easy to do. Sometimes the fan service outweighs the quality of the story, or vice versa. The quality of the story outweighs like delivering fan service. But I think that this series is brilliant. It's delivering everything. So this makes me excited for like Falcon and Winter Soldier. It makes me excited for Loki.
Oh yeah,
makes me excited
especially
for
Loki.
Marvel. We should have a Loki conversation. I have some theories about Loki, and that we could talk for 30 minutes about that. But yeah,
we should do that. Let's just do some theory streams, do like next week we can be like, here's a WandaVision review, and then go right into theories if there's no big news.
Yeah, if there's no big news.
What if?
So everybody that's here right now, if you're watching, the 100 and some people that are in here right now, if you're watching this or you're watching it on playback, next week, even if big news breaks, we're going to talk about theories. Let's talk about the Loki stuff because that's all timey-wimey multiversal goodies there. We can talk about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. We can literally just make it an indulgent MCU stream of possibilities. Let's see if, maybe if Paigey wants to jump on or something, we can get some other people in here. We can have a conversation and just have a lot of fun with it. I think that's what we'll do next week. So everybody that's watching, join us next week for that. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay.
Yeah, me and Paigey can talk about the Snyder Cut.
Oh, Lord.
Jeez, I thought I said it was an MCU stream. So let's talk about the DCEU. Speaking of quickly, the more I think about a rated R Justice League, the more it makes me wonder, why did you have a bunch of kids supporting your movement to get it released if you're just going to make it rated R? Just saying. So in the chat, score WandaVision. Let me know what your score is in the chat. What would you guys score it? What was your scores for this episode on 1 to 10?
I would
give it that's a 9 for me.
Yeah,
that was a great episode, guys. You know of what I've given the episodes prior, and you're kind of getting an idea on how I score things. This was definitely above average. This is setting the bar for the rest of the series, and now they have to keep that energy. So for me, with everything that's happened, I can't give it less than a 9 because of everything it brought to the table and really sets the tone. I was, from beginning to end, I was on the edge of my seat, and the final few seconds with her brother showing up, my jaw was on the floor. I absolutely loved it. Good job, Marvel and the writers and what they did over there.
Before you answer, Omega, that's not the point. That's like saying, why make laws that people are just going to break it? That's not really the point of what I was saying. The point of what I was saying was you had a bunch of kids supporting the release of a movie, and then you make it rated R after the fact. A 10 from Red.
Oh, man, you got 10.
Yeah, so I can respect that. Yeah, I can respect that. It was a great episode.
Right, Omega, what is your score?
9 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. Best episode. No, seriously. 9. Wow. Solid 9.
Okay. So, oddly enough, I uploaded my WandaVision review yesterday. It was supposed to be members only, and it went public.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to be like, hey, what are we doing, man? You're giving away our content.
So I am going to upload a bonus. I did a video that I have not released on my channel that I'm going to upload as a bonus video this week for Team Eric members, since the early access went up early. Early access went up early for everybody. So so there we go. So my review's over there. If you go over there and check it out, I dive into my thoughts outside of what we talked about here. I try to basically balance out what I talk about in my reviews versus here, whatever. So there we go. But I actually enjoyed it, and looking forward to where we're going to go. There is a rumor. Again, there's going to be Lucifer Rand reviews. I've got 2 of them done. They're going to be uploaded this week, probably back to back.
Eric putting out that content. Let's go.
So keep an eye on the community tab because they'll go up back to back probably. So
don't miss it.
Yeah, they were going to go up today, but then I thought I was going to wait till at least tomorrow or Tuesday, because I didn't want to upload it the same day that I did a live stream. So since there's no Batwoman tonight, by the way, Batwoman's on break till next week. I think I'll probably upload them tomorrow since there's no video.
They ain't compete with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's clearly not going to happen. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching on Twitch, you want to watch this on playback, make sure you come over to YouTube. Timestamps will be available. If you're watching on YouTube, you know the deal. In a couple of hours, it will be available to watch on playback as well. So there we go. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you, Omega, for being here. Thank you, Cyber.
Aren't we going to say what we got going on this week coming up? You just going to cut everybody off?
Do you have something going on?
Oh my God, we got content. Are you kidding me right now? So look, if you guys are interested in videos,
I forgot. Oh no, go ahead. I forgot our thing that we were talking about.
I was already talking.
Go for it.
Can we mute him? You interrupt me again. Anyway, guys, so what we're talking about here is Tuesday. We're going to be talking about the Funscape, 1995 to 2000 era, the video game place there. I can't wait to tell you guys the stories that we did while we were there. They're going to be absolutely hilarious. We have multiple guests that are going to be on. We also do about an hour and a half talk, and this one's going to be extended with the special guest. So if you like old school gaming and arcading, or you just want to actually talk with me on the chat, come over to twitch.tv/Syberninja and see what we got going on. I have uploaded a few of the episodes over on my YouTube channel, so you can go over there and check it out to see if it's something you might be interested in. I do warn you, it's not as energetic in terms of what we do here, but it is a conversation, and the more people that interact with me, the better it can be. And we're going to do that Tuesday. For the rest of the week, we'll be streaming Fortnite. We'll be streaming. Yeah, there it is. There's Funscape. We're going to be streaming Fortnite.
There's a
petition to bring it back.
There's a petition?
Let's bring it back, baby.
Please.
Phasmophobia, 7 Days to Die. We got a lot of stuff going on over at Twitch. If you guys don't have Twitch, download the app. It's free to follow me. It's free. It helps support me. If you guys want to do that, that would be great. I greatly appreciate it. And I guess we'll let Omega talk about what he's got going on. I love all the Team Eric members. You guys do a great job in this chat of being interactive, whether you're trying to be positive or you just want to be engaging. I love that. Come over to Twitch and have that same energy.
See you later, Jenna. Thank you for being here.
And for one thing, I'm not quite sure exactly. Okay, where to start? Well, I might be playing some more Phantasy Star 4. If you like classic gaming, a great RPG that no one has ever played, Phantasy Star 4. I might be playing more of that. Also, Cyber and I are kind of sort of starting the D&D campaign. I got something. That's all I was trying to get. I got something brewing in the works. We might be streaming that if we can get some more players. Eric, you're more than welcome to join us if you want. Mm-hmm. It's kind of setting in like a not steampunkish, but kind of that whole sci fantasy. If you're familiar with Phantasy Star 1, it's similar to that. Maybe like Final Fantasy 6 type setting. So yeah, that might be keep on the lookout for that if we get that going. I might stream that on my channel instead.
Okay. All right. Well, we are out, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh wow, Avatar is getting a tabletop RPG.
Word? Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Well,
I might pick that up.
Look into that. Anyway, we're out. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for joining us, and yeah, see you later.